I just want to be a mother. And all these politics thing, because in Singapore, people say that politics are all just guys. And I didn't know until when I wasn't really involved. I just do blogging and I just talk about government policies because it affects everyone's life. But a lot of people say, oh, 你不要跟我讲政治, don't talk to me about politics. But the thing is, if you go out, you buy chicken rice, then you have to pay money, they pay their rent, and they pay the GST. These are all politics. And these are all policies that affect our life. Yeah, it's like I go to hospital, whether it's public, whether it's private, whether it's restructured, these are all government policies. So I said that, okay, all these things are important. But also at the same time, I mentioned before, I want to give birth to 4 kids. So I have 3, I still got 1 more to go. And I want 4 kids before 30 years old. I think I wrote it when I was a teenager. And Straits Times, all the newspaper, they reported on it. So I wanted to get married at 21, have my 4 kids 23, 25, 27, 29. So before 40, I'll finish my 4 kids. So I haven't hit my target yet. But you know why people are very busy in Singapore and they are not giving birth? Because they are busy earning money to reach the $247,000 in their CPF. This is why people are not giving birth. And housing are so expensive, so people cannot find a place to do it.
You can ask your husband come show his face, alright? We need to. Hello.
They are outside.
Huh?
They are outside. The 3 boys are outside.
Can I chime in here to say something about the TFR, which is a subject that is very close to my heart. Alright? Now, my friends, we have a serious problem in this country. You know, a good friend of mine showed me a set of statistics some time ago. In 1990, so 32 years ago, the percentage of foreigners, foreign-born person that made up our population, alright, was 24%. 24%. Okay? Bear that figure in mind. In 2020, that figure had gone up to 43%. That means a relative increase of 19% in 30 years, in 3 decades. And when you have a TFR of 1.12, which is one of the lowest in the world, I think South Korea is lower, maybe Taiwan is lower, we may be the 3rd lowest, alright? What does that mean? Singaporeans are not even reproducing themselves, okay, not even reproducing themselves. And yet, year on year, you hear that our population is increasing, right? Wow, suddenly the BTO prices are so expensive. You know, you have to wait, 5-6 years for a BTO. Now, where has that population come from? Of course, it is the influx, it is the immigration. Yeah? And my colleague, Yong Zi Hian, told me a startling stat of statistics only 2 days ago. At the beginning of the pandemic, our population went down from I think 5.8 to about 5.4 million. It is now back up to the pre-COVID level of 5.8, alright? And listen to this. He did some maths. Of course, the figures are very opaque, alright? The figures are very opaque. And you have to be a statistician like Yong Zi Hian to be able to work out the figures. Do you know that today the workforce in Singapore, if you include the PRs and the foreigners, if you just take the PRs and the foreigners, they constitute about 48% of our workforce. Now, if you include the new citizens, and of course, you know, many immigrants over the years have become Singaporeans, right? The figure is a staggering, about 55%. That means half the workforce in Singapore, more than half, 55% of the workforce in Singapore are not local born. Now, my friends, it is very well for the PAP to keep telling us every day how wonderful foreigners and foreign talent are. Alright? I have never bought that story. I have never bought that story. And I have never bought their story that these foreigners and foreign talent bring more jobs to Singaporeans. And I can tell you a simple reason. I don't have to rely on statistics or numbers. I live the life of an ordinary Singaporean. And I tell you something, in the last 1 week, I have noticed that the taxi drivers who drive me have become younger and better educated. You know, in 2015, in the general election televised debate, I made a statement that Singapore has the best educated taxi drivers in the world. And that is true. It has even become more true today. I was astounded when 2 days ago, I was in a taxi. The taxi driver could not have been more than 42 to 43 years old. I'm telling you, he spoke immaculate, impeccable English with an Oxford accent. Or some of you would even say with a Queen's accent, or Queen's English. Now, what does that show you? It shows you that this person is a very educated person, must have worked in a very good company, probably an international company, but got retrenched, right? And that's why now he's having to drive a taxi. Alright? And Zihian told me something recently as well. You know, recently the MOM published the figures, the labor figures for the third quarter. They have not published for the second and the first yet. And why? Why not? But they published the figures for the third quarter of this year. 94% of job growth went to foreigners. That means what? 6% for Singaporeans. For locals, they say. And locals include PRs, eh? I mean, that is the type they barefaced dare to tell Singaporeans foreign talent creates more jobs for Singaporeans. You are not going to fool me when I look at the figures and 94% of the new jobs are going to foreigners. Yeah? I have said this in many forums. I don't care if you call me a racist or xenophobic. I am not. I have lived in many countries around the world. Alright? I have lived for long periods in England, in Indonesia, and other parts of the world. I have great friends from all parts of the world. I'm not racist or xenophobic. But when I speak up for Singaporeans' interests, don't come and tell me I'm racist and xenophobic. Alright? You know, when Germany